Hopefulness 2.0, April 18th. I don't have a whole lot of time left. Supposed to be getting phone calls today. I didn't thus far. And had my phone on the whole time, just hoping, waiting. Maybe, but nothing. And so in the process, which I guess was a fortunate thing, I don't know, because it's almost 5 o'clock now, I got on the internet. I was effectively waiting for the money to show up, and because at 7 in the morning, I want to say, I had moved money over into my bank account, and it said that it would take anywhere between 1 and 3 days. And Wells Fargo already shows that there's a pending, and that was kind of one of the things I was waiting for too. And I was like, well, fuck it, I'll finish filing today. And so I just finished filing, since it just kind of showed up last time I checked, which was pretty recently. But in the process, even though I said I was trying to avoid it, because sometimes it's hard to avoid things when you have other things that you're just sitting there on your ass waiting for. And so I was playing EverQuest, or I was about to, but the servers were down, and so they were like, "Hey, be ready for repops, or we're probably going to be busy." And so we ended up being busy, which is good because I stopped thinking about I stopped thinking about the money, and I stopped thinking about the job. It stopped freaking me out in that regard, despite the fact that I'm at the latter half of the month and I'm still not getting anywhere. And I keep fucking applying for the same company over and over again, but somehow they have so many different fucking names. And so I'll apply for a job that's slightly different in name, from another company that I haven't applied to, and somehow I get fucking texts from the same lady that they got, and it's like, how are you not already aware that A, you've already hit me up, that B, I've already had the Zoom interview, and C, I didn't like it. It's like, what the fuck is going on? So, obviously with that company, I definitely don't want to work for them, because their ability to communicate is absolute horseshit. Oh. This is how I would have been feeling all day, by the way. if I didn't have the 4 or 5 hour distraction of EverQuest, this is how I would have been feeling all day. And I would have I would have gotten anything done anyway. I might have, I generally don't start doing laundry and stuff until later in the afternoon anyway, and I'm about to do that soon as well, so. I gotta get the pot ready for some pasta. But I cooked some eggs in it yesterday. Cooked some eggs in today as well, but in the fry pan. That sheen of oil there, you might be able to see. And about 2 tablespoons of butter, maybe about a tablespoon or 2 of olive oil, and then throw in 4 eggs and went to town. They get all bubbly and crispy edges and stuff, and did what I could to baste. The eggs were pretty much, throughout the entirety of the pan, so basting wasn't too much of an option, but something. Because I didn't really feel like trying to flip the damn thing. Just too much. So I was like, alright, let's go for some sunny side. You can basically make a sunny side light and over easy just by basting it. So it's not, gross or anything. Plus it's easier, really. You just kind of let it cook. You can also, if you want it, and if it's safe, which can be an issue if you're using oil, especially if you're using a lot. One thing you could do is put a lid over it and let it sort of steam that way. If you wanted to, you could throw in some water to help with the steaming. Again, that would be an issue if you had a decent amount of oil. That's when you would be like, maybe not. With the butter, you get the butter fat and everything, and it's going to separate out of the water, and it's going to boil a bit, so you'll have that steam. Plus you'll have the steam from the egg itself. Because you're going to be cooking it, and so, I did my best yesterday when cooking these to scrape and try to avoid getting anything stuck to the bottom, but it always seems to happen, no matter how hard I try, so whatever. Sucks that I owe money. Sucks that I had to pay $45 just to file my California taxes. That sucked in of itself. I think what I might do is, after I'm done cleaning all this, well, maybe after I boil up my water and finish my, well, it's going to be a while before I actually make anything, so I don't know. Let's see. Because I've already had the 4 eggs that I had earlier. And then before that, I had, oh shit, yeah. A mess within a mess. Smacked up against that too many times. Smacked up against the glass. That's not something you want to do. I'm thinking about scrubbing down the bottom of these pans a little bit more. I like to do it every now and then, if possible. And I don't mean the inside, I mean the outside. The outside. I don't know how, like, the various, YouTuber celebrity chefs do it. I mean, I'm sure they probably just straight up clean it almost immediately and maybe have people on the side help, I don't know, but it's just like, it's crazy to me, like when, especially if they're like in their own kitchen, like Claire, it's like a lot of her pots, they look kind of like mine in that sense, but a lot of them also don't, and I'm like, damn, where is all these dishes from? But yeah, so I gotta put some peppercorns in my pepper because, like, there's barely anything in it anymore, which is, not bad. I mean, I got pepper literally sitting right next to it. So. Before I do laundry, though, I need to take a shower because I haven't showered in 2 days since I did my stream. Hell, I don't even know if I did a video yesterday, to be honest. I can't remember. I really can't. Stress been getting bad. It's fucking with my brain. If I did do a video, I must have done it really early and uploaded it real quick like and all responsible like, but I don't remember. That's the problem. I'm probably going to stop after I'm done with just a couple of these things, like I usually do, just because it gets tiresome. Yeah, I think I recorded the video about, because I talked about the person who wanted to see feet and explain things a little bit more and all that, so it's starting to come back to me. But again, I mean, last 48 plus hours has been pretty frustrating, so. And a lot of it there's a certain level of uncertainty in life that I'm okay with. I'm okay with not knowing what's out there, as it were, when it comes to alien life and whatnot. To me, that's fine. It's not close to home. It doesn't affect me. But when it's the uncertainties that affect my daily life, and especially in a way that's negative, then yeah, I get frustrated. And it stresses me out. I make mistakes. I forget. So, it's a constant battle, it feels like. And I mean, in the end, it's a battle I'm going to lose anyway, because we're all going to die. So all of it really doesn't matter. But it matters at the time because it influences your life. It influences how you live your life, and those factors can influence how much satisfaction you have, how much joy you have. One might say, the situation of your life doesn't matter. It's how you respond to it. I'm like, bitch, this might be an extreme example, but, if you're living in a situation, like, let's say you happen to be a slave who is chained to other slaves, you have literally no freedom, etc., etc., those influences are those things are going to have influences on your life. Okay? Now, obviously, it's not the same as my current life. I'm not a slave. But often I do feel trapped because of the circumstances in my life. Some might be like, take the Buddhist approach and just sort of discard the possessions or attachments or whatever it may be. And, maybe that works. I don't know. I've tried stuff like that. But I wouldn't even know where to go if I were to do all that. I mean, hell, I kind of did do that in a way by being homeless. And while being homeless, in a sense, was one of the better things that, what was it I used to say? I don't want to say that it's one of the best things to happen in my life, because that's totally bullshit. But during my homelessness, there were things that happened that were beneficial to me. I would not recommend becoming homeless so that you hopefully find things about yourself or whatever. I did find a lot about myself by being homeless. But by no means would I ever recommend it for anybody. Myself included. Because it's fucking stupid to do. It's intentionally. I mean, it happens to people. And, you know, yeah, there were some choices that I made, but there were also some choices that I didn't make. And it's those uncertainties that throw a wrench into reality. You know, yeah, I'm talking from a privileged position comparatively. But that doesn't necessarily mean that whatever struggles I happen to be dealing with aren't valid at all. That's not how it works. That is called the fallacy of relative privation. Wherein you're basically saying, well, just because somebody else has it worse, whatever, you know, you're basically you're trying to invalidate somebody else's difficulties because somebody has it worse. And I don't remember who said it. I think it was Bill Murray. It may have been on his Twitter, or at the very least, it may have been quoted by, quoted him on Twitter or something along those lines. I'm not really sure, but saying that somebody's suffering doesn't matter because somebody else's suffering is worse is basically like saying you can't be happy because somebody else is happier. Which, I mean, would be a retarded sentiment. And I know that word has a lot of heat behind it, and right now I don't give a shit. Because I'm upset. At least I figured out this method of cleaning the damn thing off. It would be better with just a dishwasher, of course. So many things would be better. I would just be talking and putting stuff up into the dishwasher instead of running water the whole time, potentially ruining the audio. Situation, is it? In this situation, I have to deal with what, I have in front of me. At the very least, in this case, I can. I don't feel regularly, people talk about, like, what is it, playing with the hand you're dealt and all that shit. Like, one, I don't want to play poker. Both literally and metaphorically. And in this case, poker is life, metaphorically speaking. I still don't want to play. I'd rather just fold. But no, everybody has to fucking play. The moment that you're given a hand, you're not allowed to fold. You're not allowed to, you can try all in, but it may not be all in. Somebody else, when you lose, somebody else might pick up the slack and then basically make you feel bad for it and then hold you to it. Um, it's a captive card game. It's not a game in which you really have a choice. And I don't want to gamble. I don't want to bet. I don't want to be a part of it. I never have, that as long as I can remember. Which, with regards to stress and anxiety and depression and ADD and fucking trauma, childhood and adult, memory gets negatively affected by all of that shit. The sad thing is like, all I got was $2,000 a month, I'd be fine. That's it. $2,000 a month, I'd be fine. Some people are like, well, then landlords would, rake up the prices. Maybe with that extra $2,000 a month that they also got, they wouldn't have a need for it. Oh, I'm sure there would be people who would definitely do it. Just like right now, there are people. But you know what? I don't care. We need to do something like that anyway. We need a universal basic income where it doesn't matter how much or how little you work, you always get a certain amount of money. Period. End of story. Because you're going to end up paying taxes through purchasing and the like, and people are going to property taxes and all sorts of shit. And so, like, through this $1,500 a month, landlady still has to pay property taxes on this building, and so she's paying it through my rent. People love trying to giving out those negative potentials. I got it all the time when I was a kid too. Anytime I came up with any neat idea, it was always a negative. It was always, well, somebody might do something wrong with it. So we might as well just fucking do nothing? Apparently so, because the way it's going for a lot of people, it's perfectly acceptable. And there's people out there like me who, they're at their wits' end trying to figure out what the fucking next paycheck's gonna come from. All because there's a minority of people out there who are like, but I really don't want to change it. I like the way it is right now. Because they got it better. And I say fuck those people. It can always be better. Yeah, it can always be worse, but it can always be better. And that's one of the things too, people will like, it could always be worse. It could always be better. That is my response to anybody who says that shit. It could always be worse, Justin. Yeah, and it could be better too. Shut the fuck up. Let's make it better. Let's try to make it better. Let's make attempts. Let's make effort let's raise the fucking floor. Make it better for everybody. Yeah, there's people at top who are going to get better off one way or another. They're already in that position. It doesn't fucking matter about them. It's about everybody else. It's about the people who are struggling constantly, every fucking day. Make it better for them. And I'm not just saying it just because of me. Yeah, it's part of it. It's a big part of it. But God. Next phone call I have with psychiatrist and psychologist, I'm just going to tell them straight up. Even if I have the job, I'm not fit to work in this world. I'm not fit to function in this world the way that it is. And I am not capable of changing it to my needs and to the needs of many who are in a similar situation, not necessarily in the same predicament per se, mentally, etc., but just predicament. And I'm not even saying all this stuff necessarily. My poverty illuminates my inability to live in this world. Because I don't have a brain that functions within what this stupid ass country fucking wants. and I'm too poor to leave, because that's a thing, that's a problem. You can't just, I've known people who leave other countries to come to America, and they're like, why don't you just leave America if you hate it that fucking much? And I'm like, I'm fucking too poor. And they're like, well, we left, and I'm like, yeah, you were the rich people. And they never pick up on it. The average person in some country isn't just able to fucking pick up and leave and go to another goddamn country just because they fucking want to. It doesn't work that way. There's so many fucking things that are in your way, and most of them are some kind of bureaucratic red tape that requires additional income or additional money. Because money solves a lot of goddamn problems. Money is the way that most things get done. And when you don't have any, you barely get anything fucking done. If at all. Have fun.